everyone. Thanks for joining me today. A little earlier than we usually schedule, but I'm trying to start a little earlier for these legal things. I'll get the evening rolling. We'll get a lot of comments from people that are catching it on replay, but would really like to participate in the chat. So we're going to try it for a few weeks. Please feel free to let me know if it's not working for you. I'm always interested in hearing what you all have to say. That goes for you that aren't here in the chat too, that are listening on YouTube later. Just you know how to reach me. My DMs are open. So how is everybody today? It's Monday. I hate Mondays. Did you guys know that? I absolutely hate Monday. I hate actually even saying the word Monday. I call it Second Sunday. So happy Second Sunday, everybody. Because I refuse to go into Monday. I'm going right from Sunday to Tuesday. But I took the weekend off, as you all know. Besides the Black Mirror that I did with Culture Cats was a hell of a lot of fun. What a wonderful, nice person. He's a genuine good guy, funny as heck, and he loves Black Mirror, and I had a great time. And if you guys didn't catch it on the replay, because he likes Black Mirror almost as much as Kim and I. Like Kim and I, we go nuts for Brooker if you've ever seen it. But I have to say we found another fan. Hello, Tina. Nice to see you. So yeah, Monday is bad, Robski. I hear that. But let's tell you what I got on for you tonight. Now, the thumbnail only had, Nancy Crompton-Brophy on it. Remember, we said we were going to talk about her again after she got her sentencing, and she did. I thought I would go over the sentencing with you again. It did happen last week, but it's been kind of busy with this Depp Heard stuff, like everywhere. Everybody's missing all these other cases, including myself. We just got so much to keep up with lately. It's been insane. So I do definitely want to get you up to date with that. Give you the victim statements. In a case like this, I thought it was necessary, and the way you guys reacted to it the first time we covered it, which will be in the playlist that's linked in the description. You'll see her picture on the thumbnail. It's definitely her when we covered it last time, but it's only about a month ago. It was a heartbreaking case. It really was, but it was also a case where, it was only 27 days, okay, and they took not very long to decide she was guilty. They were back within like a day and a half. Well, the jury was back like quick on this, even without a lot of physical evidence, but they did have some. Yeah, I think so. Aaron, I'm going to put that up because I feel you, dude. Because although popular opinion is that she's guilty, okay, most people will say Nancy is guilty. But I kind of agree with Aaron. If that lady did it, then she's a supervillain. No one leaves a crime scene that clean, that stores shady guns everywhere else. Exactly. She she had pieces of gun everywhere, and she was kind of silly. She was driving around the area. She was like, you would think, I don't know. It could be two things. Maybe she's so clever to act that dumb, like that obvious. Aaron, maybe she's like super villain, like you said, because maybe she's just that clever. Hello, Charlie. Welcome. Yeah. Nice of you to. I know you're working, so thank you for lurking. Oh, hi, Kyle's Goldfish. I didn't see you come in. Welcome to anybody else that I missed from the beginning. I'm just going to bring up a presentation, and I'm going to be reading. So if I see you sneak in and I don't say hi, believe me, you're welcome and hello. I'll just tell you in advance. I'm just not going to be able to do both when I don't have somebody here with me. It takes a little getting used to. But I do have something better for you to look at than my avatar for today. So, boom. Yep. All right. The first thing we're going to do is talk about, let me take Aaron off. Sorry, Aaron. There you go. You'll have to make another one for me. Believe me, I'm sure you will. Does anyone know if Ezra has been able to be served the RO yet? Tina, last I heard he was still on the run. But Ezra Miller is another case I'm not sure I want to dive into. But all you murder minions, you know how I am. If you say go, I'll go. But I want to hear from you, okay? Um, just you're gonna have to let me know because that's a hot mess. And I already have a Manson mess and a Masterson mess with Scientology, but I'm willing to do it if you guys want to hear it. Okay. Well, thank you, KMG Nation. You're going to share me out. I appreciate that. And thanks for the support. I hope you like the content. If you can't stay, I hope you catch it on replay and give me your opinion. Thank you. Mm. You have plenty of opinions. I know, Aaron. Thank you. I like opinions. I like all of you. That's probably what we all in this chat have in common. I like hearing from all of you. Don't turn any of you away. Definitely. Oh yeah, I heard that Warner Brothers did release Ezra Shea. But you know what? Let's talk. I'm serious, people. You can put it in the chat if you want me to cover Ezra Miller or tag the back of the video as a comment. That might be a way to get comments on the video. Go talk to me there, or hit me up in DMs on Twitter, Instagram, email. Everything's on the back of the channel. You know how to reach me. Those of you that are murder minions that are in the Discord, there's a room there too. Let me know. I'm definitely gonna cover it if you want. You like onions? Onions? Okay, Robski. I'm gonna carry on. Y'all carry me. I could sit here and just read your comments all day, but I got a show I gotta put on here. So here we go. So with Nancy, okay, listen, Nancy is definitely Nancy was a hot mess. Okay. This kind of tore me up. This is this, Nancy is got sentenced to life in prison. Okay. It was a sensational 27-day trial. We talked about this last time. She's been found guilty at the end of last month of fatally shooting her husband, Daniel Brophy, who, remember, he was the instructor at the Oregon Culinary Institute in Southwest Portland. He was only 63 years old. Okay. Nancy is a bit older. I believe she's in her 70s now, her early 70s. She's going to be 1 year older at the end of this month. Okay. It did not take the verdict, the jury very long to come back. It was a jury of 12. There were 7 women and 5 men. They came back with one single count of second-degree murder. Then the murder happened 4 years ago, as we talked about. It was a close-up shooting. We've talked about a dismantled gun, things like that. If you recall, we talked about there not being physical evidence. There was no blood at the scene, no fingerprints. There was no disruption of anything. Whoever did it was slick because it was close up and personal, and they left no tangible DNA of any type, no messy, nothing. Okay, a student, a student of his found him laying on the floor after the shooting, and the shooting was up close and personal from what they're saying. So it was tragic. Okay, Karen Brophy, who is the mother of Daniel, was very shocked. Her statement during the sentencing is, "You were part of our family for over 25 years. Was this relationship all deception?" That seemed to be a popular vein for all the students, people, faculty that were interviewed afterwards. A lot of the articles that I have read, people are like, it looked like they were happy. I mean, he did everything for her. He was adoring for her. She got to stay home and write. She was a murder novelist. You remember, this is the one who wrote How to Kill Your Husband like a couple of years before. It was not allowed to be into court. It was eliminated from evidence because it was so old, but it did make it sensational for media. Of course, they played it up. Of course, it was everywhere. But she produced her own, she had to publish her own books. Okay, so she didn't have a publishing house behind her. Actually, I guess she did okay. She was like a hobby, her passion of hers. She has some interesting things out there. I did not really like the style. I couldn't really say that she's one of the greatest authors I have ever read. Hmm. But it was interesting. Her take. She had a funny, snarky way of saying why she would kill a husband. It was like giggles. It didn't seem like it was that serious, but mm, they made a big deal out of it. But the media, right? Don't get me started on the media these days, okay, people. Mm. So listen. Also, we heard from Bill Brophy, who was Daniel's brother, and he told the courtroom that he's still in grief 4 years later. Often in the morning, he says, I quote, I ponder the fact that I will never see my brother on this earth again. I will never get an opportunity to go mushroom hunting with him. There will be no more yeasted waffles at family gatherings because of your most selfish act. We have all experienced a great loss. He was speaking directly to Nancy in the courtroom. Yeah. Welcome, Liam. Mm. Brophy's son was the most dramatic statement, and it's going to take me the longest to read. If you'll remember, we talked about Nathaniel Stillwater, who is Brophy's son, who did testify at the trial. There are, let me just get you some more pictures. We don't want to look at Nancy too much. This is Daniel and Nancy in happier times, in the beginning of their relationship. This is Nathaniel Stillwater. He testified at the trial. You could see he was broken even then. His father, he died 4 years before. It was very tense. He tried to be as articulate as he could, but it was an emotional testimony for him also. This is Daniel in his environment. He was a well-loved chef instructor in the area. This crime moved many people. That town mourns and still mourns 4 years later. And it appears through the media, from what I've seen, that the town celebrates that she has got life because they don't want to see her. They are happy with the judgment passed on her. Let me go back to Nathaniel and read his statement, because for this, since we went over the crime, I want to go with the after crime, because Nancy's crime, if it's this perfect, does have repercussions anyway, and she did get life. There are victims who are quite happy about it, and they need to be heard. So Nathaniel stated, you executed my father in an act of cold-blooded, premeditated murder. The man that did everything for you. He cooked your meals, he washed your clothes, accepted your sedentary nature, supported your failed endeavors, and brought you into the warm embrace of our family. You lived in the shadow of a great human. Instead of acknowledging your shortcomings and redirecting your delusions of grandeur, you chose to deprive this world of a teacher, or father, a grandparent, in someone who served as an inspiration to countless lives. It was heartbreaking, and there was much weeping. A judge spoke directly to Brophy's loved ones about the man he said he came to know during the trial as Chef Brophy. He said, I can't imagine what it's like to go through years of waiting to find resolution in this case. This was Judge Ramros. I think the thing you can take away now, which I hope gives you some small measure of solace, is that he was a mentor and a teacher to many and had an impact over a lot of people's lives. Hopefully, they will turn and have an impact on others themselves. He said he came away with the feeling that the man had a quiet sense of dignity. Remember, it was students who found him bleeding on the floor of a classroom on June 2nd of 2018, 4 years prior. They did note that at the time, the court exhibits during this case, all right, well, first, let me just say that they did exclude the How to Murder Your Husband from the trial, noting that because it was published, remember, years before, 7 years before, in 2011, the prosecutor had alluded to it several times without naming it. You know how they do that. We saw that in the Depp trial, right? Just make it in the statement, even though it's not in evidence, kind of thing. Just put it in the jury's mind. What they did. Mhm. They did, the prosecutor. They brought it up. Crampton-Brophy took the stand in her own defense, and she delivered what they call a dramatic monologue, alleging on the stand that anyone is capable of committing murder. Anyone. Um, it didn't really go well for her. They didn't like her, and she took the stand in her own defense, and she wasn't believable. She didn't stick to her story. She didn't even stick to her own statements. She claimed memory losses, holes, and gaps. Court exhibits and testimony showed that Brophy owned the same make and model of the gun used to kill her husband. There was surveillance camera footage that we talked about before of her driving to and from the Culinary Institute at around the same time that her husband was shot, based on forensic accounting backwards. Okay. She also tried to claim about $815,000 in life insurance. So they didn't really go too well for her on that either. Now, police never found the gun that actually killed her husband. They found parts of a gun. Yes, they did. But they could not match it to the bullet. You know how they do that. They could not match it to the barrel of a gun. However, she did purchase 2 barrels for that same gun, and one of them's missing. This didn't go well for her. They decided that was enough as far as circumstantial evidence. The jury decided that since she purchased it and it was now missing, it was quite likely it was missing because she tossed it away after she used it to kill her husband. Now, they don't have it to match it, but they've lined it up that way. Why else would they give her life in prison? Guilty. That quick. A day and a half. Listen, Brophy, Daniel Brophy was very, very well loved. Also, I should note to you, you're not going to like these, but Nancy Crompton-Brophy intends to appeal her life sentence. She put her hands behind herself as she walked out in handcuffs out of the courtroom to start on her sentence. The family thanked the prosecutor, thanked the judge, thanked everybody they came in contact with. But there was much weeping, and it was a hard thing for them to go through, although to watch her leave the courtroom in handcuffs was something they all looked forward to. One of Brophy's former colleagues, who was from the Culinary Institute, had brought the courtroom brownies and snickerdoodles and chocolate chip cookies, something he would have done. Gifts for all his colleagues and everybody who was there, everybody who came to see. At the end of the sentencing, she said, "It's been a very long 4 years, and I'm just happy that it's come to a close." But that's really without any questions from you that I want to talk about with Nancy. That would conclude this part of our update for Nancy. And let me just see, check the chat with extra ingredients. I don't know. Hold on one second. I don't know, Liam, if there's extra ingredients in them. What kind of extra? Well, I don't even want to ask what kind. But he was a famous chef, and he shared and he loved to make people happy with food. He brought joy into everybody else's life. And I think that is what his associate wanted to bring forward, that joy in such a sad moment. Aaron, I know you're going to ask me about the gun, aren't you? Yes. If she had the assets to destroy one barrel, then she could have disposed of the entire gun. Exactly. Like, that's what makes me. Was she being clever like a fox? Like, what do you think, Aaron? Like, she can't be that dumb, right? To just get rid of the barrel and think that that's going to be enough, But, I don't know. Or is she? Is she just clever like a fox? She just made it look like it. Hello, DJ Hush Puppy. Oh, it only made sense to do so. Hope you're doing well. And we know Johnny Depp is. Yes, he is, because he did win his defamation. But I have to tell you about two other suits he's in. I'm going to be talking in a few minutes about more Johnny Depp. So welcome. I'm sure you'll be used to me saying his name. And yes, I agree. Amber's Dateline interview was the second lowest ratings for the channel since November, getting beat out by reruns. By reruns? How embarrassing. Are you serious? Oh, gosh, DJ, you need to link me an article that says that. I could have some fun with that. I could definitely have some fun with that. Yes. Robsky, A Recipe for Murder? Definitely. I hear you. Oh, that's actually a good title for the Dateline episode of this. I wonder if that's what it was. Yes, Robsky, crazy like a fox. I agree. I totally agree. It's a Glock, half plastic, just recycle it. You see, I don't know a lot about guns, Aaron. I'm glad you're here. That doesn't make any sense. If it's half plastic, why didn't she just melt it in the fireplace? Get rid of it, something, the whole thing. But then again, there is the receipts. Maybe she was smart enough to know that there are receipts. And she would have to produce some type of gun. And that's why she hid the one that she had to put together, then thinking they wouldn't find that one. But they found the one with the receipts. But it's, I don't know. It's perplexing. I don't think they had enough, but it just goes to show you that a jury is allowed to go forward with what they see. And, a jury of 12. And you know what? It's unanimous. Life, unanimous. I mean, they sent her away forever. Unanimously, in a very short period of time. There was no haggling. They made up their. Speculation is that they made up their mind as soon as she got done testifying. They were like, "Oh no, that woman did it." It didn't matter what else was said. Once she testified, that was it. They pretty much, it seemed like the jury had made up their mind. The jury changed. Mrs. Cassandra, I agree. I've seen, I'm in his Discord, and they do a lot of his art stuff and displays, and I've seen a few things. He is quite impressionistic. He does have a lot of spirit in his art. I do enjoy looking at it. Shay says she should have used a 3D printed gun, then she could have melted it. Well, people can do that. Hello, Autistic Shield. Welcome. Oh, and welcome, Rhonda. I see you're here too. Oh boy. Any sentence would have been a life sentence for her, essentially. Well, she is older. I do agree. She is older, so anything's going to be, but she is going to appeal. I don't know what she can appeal on. But I guess, if anything comes of it, I'll let you know. But if you guys don't have any more questions about Nancy, I'm going to move forward to Johnny Depp, because there are 2 cases to cover there, and we're moving along quite nicely. Yeah, man. I didn't know you could 3D print a gun. You see how naive this bear is? I got to get my skills up if I'm going to be a serial killer, right? Jay would be so disappointed in me. I didn't even know you could 3D print a gun. I thought that was just a rumor, like something, people say. What do you know? All right, on to Johnny Depp. The first case with Johnny Depp that I have for you. If you're aware, there are 2 cases with Johnny Depp, okay? This first one, we're going to talk about Greg Rocky Brooks, okay? Now, Greg Rocky Brooks, he is the guy. He's bringing the complaint against him stating that Johnny assaulted him during a film set, okay, of Labyrinth, okay. Problem is, there's a lot of conflicting information, okay. This has been going on for a long time, okay. He filed this back in 2018, 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago, okay. It got delayed because of COVID. It's been going back and forth. Um, it's crazy. Okay, he's working on the set. All right, I'll give you the from everything that I have read and all of the little videos. And there is Laura. Remember Laura from when I did the Johnny Depp recaps with Mandy, and she has the Twitter, and she used to do the Road to Fairfax podcast with Jax. Okay, Laura is so good with the facts, and she did a couple of videos on this on Brooks and also on the ACLU case. And what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to link them for you, just to give you a little refresher. She's got two short videos on both of them, and I will put them down there. But she's really good, just short, concise, gives you the facts. She really don't play around. She is a Johnny Depp fan though. So she is going to take it from Johnny's side, as most of us have. On this, it's a little weird because I don't know. I'm leaning towards Johnny Depp on this one, but I'm going to wait for the trial because it's taken so long to get to court, and it didn't get dismissed, even though they tried. It did not get dismissed. Right now, they've got motions in Lima to get rid of witnesses that they're considering are an expert and get rid of testimony that's not necessary because they wanted to use everything they could think of from all of Johnny's other trials. Okay. Which doesn't really legally seem very fair. Yes, Mrs. Cassandra, I miss Mandy in general because that was such a treat to stream with her. Or not to get sidetracked, but doing those recaps every week with Mandy was the highlight of my week. I miss so many people from Ranty's chats, just hanging out watching the trial. That was the first time I'd ever viewed a live trial. On stream for YouTube. And I never thought I would like it. And I used to stay away from it, but I think I got the bug now because that was quite the experience. And I'm glad that some of you liked it with me. Hi, Arcanix. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to see you here too. Well, anyway, back to Greg Rocky Brooks. Well, his nickname is Rocky, okay. But the short story goes, and this is from a couple of different articles that I read. Apparently on the set, there was a woman of some ethnic persuasion that Rocky was making some unkind remarks to, that Johnny Depp took obsession to. He walked up and pushed him and said, "Don't talk to her like that." He admits to that, okay? He admits that they had a light scuffle, but there is evidence of pictures right afterwards to where they actually worked it out. They agreed. They didn't have any problem. They hung out and partied the whole rest of the night. It didn't become a problem until days later when all of a sudden he decided he had to sue for it. Or I don't know why. I don't know what happened. Maybe they got into a tussle afterwards, or somebody had words, or, maybe his insurance company. Who knows? Okay. But it seemed like they had a small thing happen and it got turned into a big thing. And it's an even bigger thing by the media. Okay. No. But anyway, let me read this complaint to you. So, he's complaining for assault and battery. He filed it on assault and battery. He said he intentionally inflicted emotional distress, negligence, negligent respondent superior, negligent hiring and retention of unfit employee, negligent supervision of employee, hostile work environment, wrongful termination in violation of public policy, retaliation, negligent infliction of emotional distress, okay? Because Johnny is not the only one being sued. It is Johnny, Brad Furman, an individual, Good Film Productions, USA Inc., New York Corporation, and Infinitum Nil Hill, a California corporate, which is Johnny's corporation, because Johnny apparently was involved with this project, Labyrinth, very highly. Yes, I think she was homeless, just Rhonda, but I didn't want to like put her nationality. I wasn't sure, but yeah, you must have read the same article I did, and he was protecting her because from all accounts, and there were witnesses, Greg Brooks was not kind to her at all. He was unnecessarily rough. He was not being very nice. Hmm. That's right. Kyle's Goldfish. Let me put this up because Kyle makes sense, and I had read this. In Yep, this is where we're going. Was it not because on that Monday, Brooke was asked to sign an NDA by the film company saying he wouldn't sue, and Brooks refused and then quit and then sued, and that's his story anyway. Yeah, he quit. That's what he's saying, and then he's saying that he was wrongfully terminated. Like, what, like, there's so much shady stuff going on in this that I can't wait for the trial because I want to see who's telling the truth about what. But from what we know about Johnny, it does sound like he would defend a homeless Hispanic woman who's being berated by an employee who really has no reason to talk to anybody like that, another human being. You know how Johnny is. It's human to human. It's not like, oh, you work for me, I get to do this to you. It's not like that. Not in his world. Okay. Really. And then being upset because somebody doesn't like your behavior. This is perfect, Liam. This is so what I was thinking. This guy got upset because he got called out for being an ass. Okay, let's just use the language as it is. This guy got called out for being an ass to somebody, and his fifis are hurt now because everybody agrees with Johnny that he was being an ass. So he's upset if someone didn't like your behavior, and that doesn't make it emotional distress because you have to deal with your own damn bad behavior. Exactly, right? I mean, he did it, right? I know, Shay. I'm hoping it gets thrown out. I'm waiting because we got court dates coming up that I'm going to get to. Well, yes, I'm hoping that it's primed for getting thrown out. It really is. I'm telling you. There is a response filed by Johnny. I'm going to get to it. I am. Yep. Rhonda, I'm going to finish. I see your questions. I'm going to just go right through it for the rest. Okay. So exactly, they're talking about emotional distress here, which I don't, no, not. Okay. There's just no way. There's just no way that is. Well, let me just show you some of the stuff that I found that will help. And then I will tell you about the responses because they have filed so many motion and lameness to get rid of stuff. It's not even funny. Okay, so this I just pulled up to show you that Johnny's going to have the same lawyers. Camille signed on first. Ben's coming in also. He's got the same lawyers for this case. That's a good sign, right? There you go. All right. Here's one problem that I found. There's an article from November 2018 from GQ, and it's being spread around like fodder because in this article, okay, they are saying that, based on previous accusations that Amber Heard had about him throwing a phone at her and her having a bruise, the person who wrote this article thought that they needed to talk to Johnny about his aggression. Is he an aggressive man? Can he lose his temper? Or is he prone to, if intoxicated? Johnny says, I always admit when I'm like that. I don't get intoxicated and get upset, but things upset me. I have freely admitted, and it's known, quote unquote, yes, I have been arrested for assaulting a hotel room worker once, and I smacked the location manager on the set of a new stalled project, City of Lies, a film about the murder of Biggie Smalls, and he called the cops on me, and I went to jail in New York City. Okay, great, fine. I probably deserved that. There was another time when someone went to take a picture of Vanessa when she was pregnant with Lily Rose, and he wasn't going to let them make a circus out of it. So I did what I had to do. I got her in the car, and they didn't get a picture. And I said, I cursed at them and told them, take a bleepity bleep picture because then I'll shove your bleepity bleep head in. So he did admit to being provoked in language and maybe have to do things. But it's that statement there that they're trying to say is problematic. I don't really say so. He's admitting it. Okay. This is the post punched him in the ribs pictures. Okay. Wrapping the scene for the night. They continue to work together for the rest of the evening. Okay. They took this picture at the end of the shoot a few hours later. Don't you think? Does that look like a distressed man? He's so emotionally traumatized in this picture. Johnny looks more upset than Rocky does. Hello, Al Pacino. I like the name and I love the actor. Welcome. But I'm just saying, he doesn't look distressed, does he? This was that night. Okay. This was Adam Waldman's statement on Twitter. He tells The Blast, what do you do when your punching hoax against Johnny Depp is disproven by multiple eyewitnesses and date and time-stamped photographs? You try to link it up with the other hoax that is also disproven by multiple eyewitnesses and photographs. How do we know this? Rocky Brooks' lawyer threatened that she was working with Amber Heard's lawyers, although one hoax has nothing to do with the other. Throw in a few irrelevant smears against Johnny Depp for his past addiction and recovery, and you have the inadmissible in-court PR strategy of every one of his opponents. Litigation is evidence rather than PR-based, as our opponents continue to learn the hard way. I love that. Litigation is evidence rather than PR based, as our opponents continue to learn the hard way. What was a great bear slap, Adam Waldman? I like that. I like that a lot because that's so true. Because I wouldn't want to go up to against Camille and Ben with no evidence. Would you? Would you? Not me. So anyway. Motions in Lima have included them trying to use the Amber Heard trial as evidence that he's a violent man. Denied. Them trying to use the his past his past addictions to his prescription medications and his history of drinking. Any of that, trying to use all of that. Not going to happen. And now they're fighting back and forth. I have not seen whether it's been denied or not. But they're also, the last one, number 5, was about the therapist that Rocky needed to see because Johnny berated him for talking to the homeless woman the way that he did. Okay. And they're trying to say she's not an expert witness because of some of the things, you know, the history and stuff and the way that they're going and the way that she answered her deposition. I think they're serious. And you know why? Because the motion in Lyman for this particular witness is 61 pages long. Ben Chu and Camille went in on that deposition like I don't know what. Like, I mean, they went in. Like, I can't even, it's just all blacked out. It's all like objection, hearsay. I mean, practically, if you could put a big orange red circle with an X through it and call something bullshit, I do believe that's what they were doing. It just read like unbelievable. But anyway, the plaintiff's motion to exclude paragraph 12 of the film monitor report, the film monitor report that shows that he was perfectly fine after he got supposedly berated and emotionally distraught and knocked in the ribs by Johnny Depp, that has been allowed to come in as evidence. He tried to get that thrown out. You tried to get that thrown out because, gosh, you wouldn't want to show everybody that you didn't have a problem after the problem, right? Anyway, I'm sorry. It is amusing. It's amusing when people come at somebody like this and they've got nothing. Like, they've got nothing. And they just think, oh, well, you know, it's America. We're just going to sue him. He's got the money. He'll just throw it at me and go away. No. I think Johnny's tired of playing with these people. I think he's tired of people taking a swipe at his reputation. And just because he was down doesn't mean you get to step on him, Mr. Brooks. You're going to learn. He got good lawyers. He got really good lawyers. But I'm going to reserve judgment. I will keep my amusement plenty, but I'm going to reserve judgment until the trial, which is coming up. We've got some things coming up on the 20th. We've got a final status conference in July. And then at the end of July, we're supposed to have a jury trial. I doubt they're going to let us see it, but we'll have something to talk about anyway. So it should be interesting. Well, there was plenty of stuff going on with this guy. Oh, so now let's talk about the ACLU. I want to take this down. I don't have because the ACLU is just all pictures of court documents, because who wants to look at the face of that organization for any more time than we have to, eh? Well, here we go. So, about the ACLU, okay, we know that Johnny Depp needed to petition. First, he put them on the witness list and said that they had evidence that he needed to see. So he petitioned for the evidence of the emails in creating the op-ed and of her advocacy with the ACLU and the information that went back and forth. He also found that he wanted to get the information about the donations, because that was a big issue in the UK trial, as you all know, about whether or not she had actually paid that money or not, since she demanded the money from him to do it. Okay, and had used it as her goodwill statement in the UK trial. And he wanted to prove her a liar, and as he should, or he petitioned for that. They didn't want to give them anything, so he had to subpoena them, and they were required to do all this extra work. Now they want, and I kid you not, $86,000, because they had to check everything with lawyers, and they had to pull all the emails, and they had to get all this together. Really, all they needed to do was have 2 employees pull email records and pull the financial records of the donations. And one person came to court, right? $86,000. Well, Johnny's not having it. Johnny's fighting it. He's like, it's unreasonable, the amount. Even though New York allows you to bill for services when you're subpoenaed, if it's over and above, the amount that they're charging for lawyers' fees, the amount that they're charging for, listen, when you got to cover your ass to go to court, why is that somebody else's problem? I mean, you're the one who did it. You got to cover your butt. Why is that somebody else's problem? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. But anyway, he's fighting, and guess who his lawyers are? You got it. Yep, those are his lawyers. They're having so much fun batting people around. And I can't wait I love reading their briefs. Their briefs are so articulate. So damn articulate, Beast. Okay. You know what I did skip, though, that I do have for you? Let me just tell you what it is that Johnny is going to claim against Brooks, just so you know that they're not kidding. They are not kidding. Okay. For Johnny had Camille before Ben even signed on. Camille through the lawyer's practice had already sent in their answer to the complaint way back like in the beginning of 2019. Well, anyway, it's a general denial under the statute that he has no claim because nothing happened. Then his affirmative defenses are failure to state a claim. Okay, that. The second affirmative defense was self-defense and defense of others. He's saying that he was defending somebody else when the altercation happened. Plaintiff provoked the alleged altercation. He was contributory to the negligence. In other words, he didn't shove me back, I wouldn't have shoved him again. Like, he wouldn't stop. He kept going. He was in it. In other words, how can you blame me when you were there too? Like, kind of like a bar fight. Like, you got to figure out who swung first and whether there was a reason and who was getting defended. It's really nasty. The fifth affirmative is really, really nice because it says that plaintiff caused his own injury. Okay. His own actions caused his own injury. In other words, he caused what happened. End of story. Anything that happened after that is his fault. If he had to go to therapy because he's upset about getting called out for being an ass, what can I tell you? That's what they're saying. This is why I find it so humorous. And they're saying that the damages do not equal what happened. His failure to mitigate, assumption of risk, statute of limitations. They're like, dude, come on. Really? You're going to file all this now? And avoidable consequences. And that there's waiver, and in pari delico, these answering defendants are informed and believe and thereupon allege that each and every purported cause of action contained in the complaint is barred because the plaintiff has engaged in acts and courses of conduct which rendered him to be in the situation he was. That's what that means in pari delicti. It means delectico. I can't say it, delicto. That means that he put himself there. He did it. You can't blame me because of what happened if you put yourself there to do it. Okay. There was consent by the plaintiff to get engagement. There was no employment relationship. So let's forget about all those other people you're trying to sue about this bad work environment and all that other stuff. Just forget that because you had no employment with these people. Okay. And he was an at-will employment. In other words, he's a contractor. That's risky. He had willful breach of duty by doing what he did, and he's the one who violated the labor code. Equitable estoppel, abandonment of duty. I guess he walked off. Failure to state facts to support of punitive damages. In other words, don't keep trying to get me for stuff that you can't even show any damages to what you did. Okay. And they're also getting him for 21st. I mean, this is the 21st defense. I've never seen this many. This is a lot. Unclean hands, meaning you were in it too. You cannot call. You can't say, oh, yeah, I slapped you if you slapped me. Workman's compensation exclusion. Plaintiff breached the covenant of good faith in his duty. Good faith by defendants. Duty to mitigate harm. After acquired evidence. In other words, they submitted the evidence that showed that he was fine and he still went forth. They're still getting him on performance of duties. They want to sue him for the defendant. They want to sue him for all their fees. That there was no violation of the plaintiff's rights. The public policy was not pled. Public policy requisite elements not to plead. In other words, he was under his at-will contract had things in it about not suing and using third parties that he didn't do. Conduct did not violate public policy. The joint employer did not plead sufficiently. There's no cause. There was retaliation. The plaintiff's wrongful acts, plaintiff's misconduct, jurisdiction, illegality, and unreasonableness. They want to know, what did I do that was so wrong? And are you being unreasonable? And this is an affirmative defense. The right to amend. Okay. They did a damn good job. He's got excellent lawyers. And just wanted to tell you that before we get into the rest of the ACLU. Well, that was the defense. That was Camille's, the law firm's response back after the complaint by Brooks. And they did a really, really good job. Hey, Alman, how are you? It's nice to see you here. Okay, so now $86,000. Okay, let me show you what that looks like, because how they're documenting this is so bizarre. It just looks silly to me. I mean, they're actually going, like, normally when you have to testify, if you have costs, you would actually be able to go with, let me see, is that it? No, I want the one that shows the fees. Where's the fees? Oh, here it is. So in April, they sent to the court this one. Let me just get that up so you can see it. And you see, okay, I don't know if you can see that very big. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's better. Okay, so look at this. Okay, this is just the people that were doing, okay, the two down here, you see the litigation support manager and the litigation support analyst. If there is documentation preparation, those two fees are reasonable, although pretty high costs. Okay, they are litigation support managers. Okay, the documentation they go over, they have enough legal to cover their butt. Those other ones up there, that's what they're just that they're calling that absolutely unreasonable. And I might just be agreeing with them. Then they go, look at this. This is all the hours that they spent. Okay. And this is how they're documenting it. They're documenting it by hour instead of documentation. Okay? Look at all that. This is how they're just trying to nickel and dime him out of $86,000. Ridiculous, in my opinion. Absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. I know, just Rhonda. Are they absolutely insane? Are they not? Like, absolutely insane. But, Johnny's team's defense. Okay, first of all, of course, they when the ACL filed, they filed all the New York statutes that say we're entitled to this, we're entitled to that, and you just didn't want to do this, you just didn't want to do that, and so you're going to have to pay for us to come and do the testimony, because New York law does allow them to get fees. Okay, if it's exorbitant or if it was a big P, really difficult to do. There are all statutes that do it, and they're trying to use them all. Okay, Johnny's defense was 12 pages, but there are just some things in here. I mean, he calls them unreasonable, exorbitant. Okay, he starts going into the background of everything, and says that if it wasn't for them being complicit with all this crap with Amber Heard, they wouldn't have to do this in the first place. He pretty said, well, you did it, dude. Like, you guys actually suggested this op-ed. You actually helped get this done with the Washington Post. Like, you're going to stand there like you got nothing to do with it, and I need to pay you because you got caught with her? With her? You got caught with her. Okay? You support her, Oh, gosh. He was, based on the foregoing mission, Mr. Judge sought the issuance of subpoenas because they wouldn't willingly come forward with information they had on Amber Heard. Now, they are a big organization, a nonprofit with a big mission, right? Don't you think if you get asked for a trial involving anyone, especially one of your ambassadors, that you would want to be cooperative so that you don't get besmirked, you don't get a smudge against your name? At least be cooperative with the attorneys and with the court system. Not these guys. They tried to fight the subpoenas right up to the last minute. If you guys remember, they fought this right tooth and nail to the last minute to go. Respondents' request for production expenses is exorbitant, unreasonable, and not provided for under the law. They cite many, many cases to where similar cases like this went against them for the exorbitant amounts of it, for that the New York came in and said, that's ridiculous. Just because you can get reimbursed doesn't mean you should rip people off. Okay. They are actually going back and forth. Okay. Respondents are not entitled to all of the requested expenses. They are trying to add in all these exorbitant lawyers' fees when they are not entitled to all of them. They are entitled to documentation fees, review fees. They are entitled to those. That's reasonable, right? If you want to make sure that the testimony is going to be accurate and you have to give somebody the project over and above what you normally do, that's an additional expense. And I would, agree that could be reasonable. And I think Johnny's team is actually saying in this that is reasonable. And I'm not arguing about that. I don't think anybody would. I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's reasonable. Okay. Listen, but when you got to cover your butt because your advocate is Amber Heard, it's not reasonable for us to pay for your attorney fees. It's not. And that's what most of these conversations were about. The documentation was going to be in the emails, was going to prove that they were in the emails. Okay. So they were talking about protecting themselves against what Amber was doing in this courtroom with Johnny Depp. Okay. About that. They shouldn't have to pay for that. Producing the evidence? Yes. Protecting your ass about what's going to happen later when we find out you were complicit in moving this forward? No. You see where I'm going with that? I kind of hope we hear more strong language like that from Ben Chu and Camille Vasquez because, man, basically, Several people in the Discord read this and they've just enjoyed it really because it is well written and it's kind of like a take a step back. Are you kidding me? Like, F that, this ain't happening. You're not getting $86,000 from me. What are you kidding? It was good. It was really good. Well written legally, really. They still say that even requesting it is unreasonable because they're just covering their book. I mean, seriously. He should not be required to foot the bill for time and fees associated with respondents improperly withholding material to the subpoenas as privileged. For all these reasons, if Mr. Depp is ordered to reimburse any attorney fees associated with the document production and privilege log, and reimbursable fees should be reduced significantly to account for the unreasonable amounts of the time that they billed and the unreasonable rates that they charged. Because, they were saying it was privileged communications, and that's what all of those lawyer fees about. They're trying to cover their butt. Yeah, they are just trying to cover their butt. I'm serious. This is like ridiculous. Oh, but anyway, that is. You guys got any questions about ACLU besides them being ridiculous? Or you can say whatever you want. Hidden meaning. Just Rhonda says, "Yep. Are you advocate exactly?" This was similar to some of the comments I got in my DMs about it. Yes, but yeah, if they did, yeah. The ACLU is going the way of the NRA, wasting money. They are, and I guess they're trying to get it back. Arcanics, 1971. If I was a donator to the ACLU, then seeing that they chose to spend several times the top market rate for lawyers would make me question how my donations are actually used. Yes! Hell to the yes! Who the heck are they? First of all, it is supposed to be like a charitable type thing. It's a big, big fundraising charity, right? You would think that some of the top lawyers there would be giving reasonable rates, supporting the mission, not charging 3 times the going rate because they think they can afford it. What the heck? Like, really? I'm with you. I would be looking at them side-eyed. I am looking at them side-eyed. And to the left, and to the right, and I'm looking all over about that organization. They need to do some real thinking about growing and changing and about their image. They really do. Well, they've been doubling down. It's really sad to see. Their report was crap anyway, not worth the so-called hours put in. Yes, Liam, because that testimony did not help them at all, did it? Didn't help Amber. The poor man was blinking and squirming, trying not to throw a donor under the bus because, the last thing you want to do as an organization that thrives on donations is be known as throwing one of your donators under a bus, with it. But he had to tell the truth. So watching him squirm was actually one of the more pleasant days in the trial because it was kind of amusing. I felt bad for him, but it was kind of amusing, all the little things he was doing to try to get out of answering something he absolutely had to answer and ended up answering anyway. So, Just Rhonda says, the ACLU is just pissed because they had to swear under oath the truth about the pledge and made by Amber and that she never donated it. Yes, and they had to say where the money came from, and they couldn't prove it came from Amber no matter what they did. No matter what they did, they couldn't prove it came from Amber because it didn't. It didn't. It actually didn't. Hope it's not a for-profit charity like the Phoenix Act. I have to look into that. I don't know if it is. It's supposed to help the less fortunate, not millionaires. I agree. DJ Hush Puppies. I do. I recognize the need for good lawyers, but not to detriment of their so-called mission. I see. They need good lawyers, not just people that are volunteer. I agree. But can't good lawyers give them a reasonable rate? I mean, or, for a cause, especially if they believe in them. I guess they do get what they pay for. They need extremely good lawyers. You don't want to get lost up in litigation. I get that. ACLU is not for profit. We know that. But I don't know if certain parts of it run profitable parts. But it is supposed to be a non-profit. You did. Just Rhonda says, it was rather enjoyable. I didn't feel a bit sorry for his head. You didn't? Not even a little bit when he sweated? When he was wiping his forehead, you didn't feel a little bit sorry for him? Like when he started wiping his forehead, I was like, oh poor guy. Is he trying to do a good thing? Okay. Aaron says, the thing that pisses me off is that the ACLU has clients who are in desperate need of their normal assistance and they're throwing good money after bad. Exactly. They're supporting someone with completely bad, PR alone, common sense, business decision. Amber's tainted now. You want to believe her story that she's a victim? Fine. Well, she's not your best candidate for an advocate now, is she? Her story has been demolished and ripped apart. And you can double down and say that's what happens to all victims, but it's not what happens to all victims. The climate has changed and victims do get believed. Okay. But Amber didn't because of Amber. Okay. Not because she's a victim, not because she's a woman, because she wasn't telling the truth. Okay. And that's got to stand. And they've got to stop making that distinction. They've got to prop up victims, but not unreasonableness. Okay? They're making themselves look ridiculous, in my humble opinion. The New York statute where a company can claim expenses for having to pull docs to comply with subpoenas X, does it apply if it's the state, like Attorney General requested the information? I don't believe in a crime, but remember this was a civil case. I think there's vehicles if something is extraordinary with criminal, but it's not standard practice as far as I know, but I will check it further. I do not think it applies to criminal cases. Just Rhonda is confirming that the ACLU is a nonprofit and nonpartisan. We do not receive any government funding. Member dues, as well as contributions and grants from private foundations and individuals, pay for the work we do. And our big fat lawyers. I know. Thank you very much. You guys are so helpful. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you very much. Oh, Kyle's goldfish. Just thinking Trump will be all over it, charging the state for his accounts, having to pull his legal docs for taxes. I know, because the IRS wants him to go through an audit, and then he's going to say, oh, let me bill you for my accountant. Oh, Kyle, don't get me started. I know, don't get me started. Oh, my God, I could go on. Oh, just Rhonda. I used to use ACLU articles and references in papers I wrote in college for a criminal justice degree. Oh, congratulations. And you're on your degree, too. Now, I would never use them based on principle. I applaud your principle. And if they get some good legal people there, again, they've done some great things. It's this part of it, this one part of it, that is really, really run amok. It really has. Especially the doubling down lately. It has been very disheartening. Arcanic says, I stand with censored. Was trending the other day. But more than half was people laughing at the idiots doing said standing. Really? You know what? It did say she was trending, and so was her as a psycho and as being psychotic and as being a liar and a couple of other things. Yep. Liam says they should be embarrassed about their accounting software not being able to create that report in 10 minutes. Yes. Exactly how they put it in. And they should publicly apologize. I do agree. But in the end, I do agree that the person that is definitely responsible is the one that's paying the price in the defamation case, and that would be Amber Heard, regardless of what the ACLU did to aid and abet, or was contributory, or what the Washington Post did to try to manipulate the situation. It is still what she did. It was her. Took those stories from other people, made up more things about him, spread those rumors even prior so that this would be believable. So, nope, all her, like, she gets it. She got it, and she got it good. But on that, there's our hour, an hour plus, and that went fast. Well, there's definitely more Johnny Depp coming. I've got a couple of, I agree with several of the commenters that the Dateline interview really was a big boo, a big like dull thud on Friday night, because we had seen the bulk of the interview in cuts through the week. Okay, and they really didn't do much to enhance it. There was maybe one question or two questions added, and then they went and clipped out something that made her look really bad. Oh, I find that offensive in an interview. I don't know about you guys, but I thought an interview was the truth. Like, it was an interview. It's supposed to be journalistic. And that means journalistic means reporting, like to me, and reporting means the facts, the way they are. You don't get to edit part of a person's answer out because it made them look bad. The part where she actually disavowed herself as a victim. She actually aligned herself with Savannah and put everybody as victims over here. And that was quite telling during that. And it disappeared really quick. So quick that it's really sus. It disappeared so quick, it makes her look even worse. So they didn't really do Amber any justice by clipping that out. They really didn't. Well, it was really great to see everybody and to talk. Let me just tell you, let me do the YouTubey things. If you have not liked the video, please like the video. Do me a favor and just put a smiley face or something as a comment. It does help get some movement on some of this stuff. If you like the content, share the video with a few people. Get a couple more views up there. Helps with the algorithm. And that's about it. If you haven't subscribed and you're just here watching, all of you out there on YouTube that do come later and look at it, please hit the subscribe button. It's really not going to hurt you much, but it really helps me a lot. I'd like to see those numbers get up more, get into the algorithm a little more, get a little more people that want to see this stuff. I hear from a lot more people after than I do during, and that's okay because I like my chats. I love the people who are here talking back and forth and keeping me amused and keeping the information going back and answering your questions the best that I can, And I love seeing you all. Again, we're going to have another chat session tomorrow if you like. 1 o'clock starts the January 6th congressional hearing, number 5. That one's coming forward. Number 3 is still not scheduled yet as to what the content was for that one. Has still not been rescheduled. I don't know if that's the one they're going to have Thursday or not. But I do know we have one tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I will be covering that at Eastern Standard Time. That is for UK. That is 6 o'clock in the evening. And for Central Time, that's noon. For Pacific Standard Time, that's what, 10? No, 11 o'clock. And then for Australia, it's in the middle of the morning, and it's okay. You can watch the replay. I'm not going to hold it against you. Because I know it's way too early in the morning. But anyway, if you guys like this time, that could be one of the comments you leave on the back of this video for this series, which is always on Monday. It's the weekly legal. It's either about a certain subject for a couple of weeks, like it was with Manson, and or it is just a recap of several of the cases we're covering. And these 2 Johnny Depp cases are on the roster now, along with Marilyn Manson, along with Danny Masterson in Scientology, and Lori DeVallo and Chad Daybell, and a couple of other little ones that people have been tossing me back and forth. But if there is one coming up that you want more coverage of, more information, that you just let me know. And I'll check into it because I like reading this legal stuff and I like doing the weekly. And this 4 o'clock is fitting nice for me. So just let me know if it was good for you. On that, congressional hearing at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And after that, at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, might be too late for some of you in the UK or in other time zones, but I'm going to have Mippet from the Shields. The Dragon Queen of Limericks shall be on my channel doing Am I the Asshole at 8 o'clock. We're going to be reading Reddit threads and having a good time, a good conversation. Should be a lot of laughs. I love that woman. She is all out. Totally honest, and you're going to get what we get. We're going to discuss some really good cases. I'm having fun trying to pull some really good ones for her. Suggestions welcome. If you're in my Discord, go home and drop them in the room. And if you're not in my Discord, my DMs are always open. And on that, just like to say thanks everybody for being here. Yeah, I can't wait to see you all again, perhaps tomorrow or sometime during the week. On that, have a really, really good night, and thanks for being here.